Hello, Panda friends. In this video, we are going to do a mid-month reset. So there is this thing that I usually do 1 or 2 times a month, and I never really thought about it much. I just did it whenever, and so I really wanted to kind of restructure my planner routines and make them more streamlined and actually think about it a little bit and also share it with you. So this is going to be my first attempt on doing this mid-month reset, and we're going to do it together. And I'm going to walk you through all of the steps that I'm going to do this month. So I have my planner here, obviously, because you're gonna need that because um, it's going to be centered all around my planner, my to-dos, my goals, and all that. And before we start, I wanted to say that um, I just had like a very um, chaotic, stressful transition period in my life. As you probably already know, I moved back from the US to Germany um, around end of June, and I stayed with a friend for like a month. And beginning of August, I was able to move back into my apartment that I had sublet for the time that I was in the US. So it's mid August, obviously, and so I just moved back into my apartment. So that's kind of stressful and chaotic. But on the other hand, I also started a full time internship on the 1st of August. So those things happened at the same time. And this is my first time ever being in a 9 to 5 office setting. Um, so that's an adjustment for me. Also a bit like commuting to work every day and back, and it's like 2.5 hours. So a lot of stress, a lot of chaos, a lot of getting used to stuff. So August hasn't been the most, prepared um or out month for me. But now things again, and my apartment starts to look more like an actual apartment instead of like a storage room or whatever. I feel like it is the perfect time to be starting this mid-month reset thingy, because I really feel like I need to be more organized. So first things first, I want to show you that I have been trying to use my planner in August. uh, well, it was not, like a runaway success. But I did do a little bit of planning in here. So the monthly is usually a very important page for me. And then we have, like, obviously a couple of empty pages in here. So on the 9th of August, I tried starting to use it again. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take my fountain pen and I am going to flip through all of my August pages, starting with my monthly. So this is going to be step 1. So I'm gonna flip through my August pages. I'm going to look at events um, that didn't happen. I'm gonna cross those out on the calendar so that I have an accurate picture of everything that happened this month. I'm gonna add things up until today, which is the 17th, that did happen, that is not on the calendar. Oh no, I just smudged some ink on my page. And I'm also going to go through my to-do lists and cross out anything that I haven't crossed out. Um, like there is a lot also on here that I need to tend to, so I'm going to do that, and I am going to decide about tasks that I haven't crossed off yet, if I want to move them to next week, um, or what I'm going to do with them. And yeah, that's basically step one, just a recap of stuff that is in my planner and is not in my planner. So let me quickly do that and then we'll get back to you. Okay, so I basically crossed off stuff from my monthly calendar. I crossed off any to-dos that weren't crossed off. And I also added a little bit of washi to finish out this spread kind of, and crossed off all of the to-dos that are, that were still open, and looked through all of my to-do lists and wrote down some things that I would like to keep in mind for the next 2 weeks, or even just for next week. And now the next step is going to be to kind of reflect on the first 2 weeks of August. So, what I want to think about, by flipping back and seeing everything on my calendar and looking at my journal entries as well and my highlights, is what went well up until this point in this month and what didn't, what has been draining me, my energy, what I need to, pay more attention to, what is not working, either just with planners or like just overall in my life. And also to look at my um, planner and see what's coming up. Is there like anything that is not on my calendar that I need to add? And yeah, kind of just an overview on when did I feel the most productive, which days, when was I feeling burnt out, what was the cause, and what I wanna do about that. So I'm gonna go ahead and flip through these pages again, reading my journal entries a little bit and figuring out what are the lessons learned from the first 2 weeks of the month. And I'm gonna get back to you once I'm done with that. All right, so I completed that step and I wrote down that work is going well, and I have been reducing my sleep debt continuously, so that went pretty good. Not going well is I feel stressed by my content creation currently because of everything going on. It was, on the back burner, but I still wanted to do it. So then I had this constant stress in the back of my mind that I have to do that as well on top of everything. So I need to figure out something. And so the reason I'm doing this step is to look at the category not going well or what is draining me, and to figure out how to maybe tweak something in the next 2 weeks, so that in 2 weeks I can check in again and see if maybe the things that were not going well are now going better or worse, and then go from there. So, content, I need to figure out some kind of schedule, maybe like maybe fixed days or something, so that I know that this is going to get done and I don't have to stress about it. And then morning and evening routine, same kind of vibe. Everything being so chaotic, me getting used to getting up super early, going to bed super early, and all that, and just feeling super exhausted after work and also in the morning. Um, I don't really have a routine going on, which I think will really help me to not have to think that long and hard every morning about things, and in the evening as well. So I want to get going with that. And then movement, I have been trying to get back into fitness, or like, doing more on that front. And with being exhausted, it was not easy. But I really want to structure that. So that's that. And then commuting is draining me. And so next week, I am starting to work from home a little bit as well to compensate for that. But I also want to think about how I can make my commute more, um, yeah, maybe productive, but also maybe more like, just less draining, just less exhausting. And yeah, having a little bit of a chaos still at home because of the move is draining me as well, and it's nagging on me. So I want to plan in a day or two the next 2 weeks to really get rid of all of that. So, see, that's the reason I'm doing this step, to evaluate where everything is and what I want to focus on. Because otherwise, I would have just continued with, the day to day to dos that I have, anyways. And then at the end of the month, maybe I would do a reflection and see, oh, well, there were all of these things that I haven't looked at and didn't improve upon, and they were really not great this month. Now I have the chance to course correct in the middle of the month as well. So I also wrote down some deadlines that is more like a practical aspect of this step. So now what I want to do is kind of replan the last 2 weeks. So with this in mind, obviously, that we talked about, I want to figure out where I can fit in some of these things that I talked about. And then I might also um, just take some of these empty spreads in between to use these to plan out some things that I need some space to plan out, like morning and evening routines, or um, just collecting some ideas on what to do on my commute to make it more enjoyable, and maybe also just to write a to-do list on all of the things I want to do to minimize the chaos in my apartment currently. So that's what I'm going to do in the next step, and we talk about what I did after I'm done. Okay, so I did create these lists for my morning routine, evening routine, and for my commute. And I also planned in some content days, I planned in some gym days, and some cleaning evenings. So I basically crossed out almost everything on this list. So that's actually pretty good. Now, what I want to think about is, um, goals, or rather, what are the most important things that I want to focus on. And we are going to decide now. Because one of my biggest, like, flaws, I guess, is that I am hopelessly bad at prioritizing things because I want to do everything all at once because I'm excited about all of my areas of life. So I want to, I want to jump in and basically rehaul my life all the time instead of just being realistic and choosing maybe one or two things to work on. And since we are looking at a 2 week period, which is really not a long time, I think I might be able to be a bit more realistic. So we're going to choose, let's say, two main things, two areas of life that I want to focus on for the next 2 weeks. And I think I'm just going to put it on this spread. So we're going to do, I'm just going to put um, that's just how I'm going to do it. um, don't overthink it is one of my biggest tips. Just put it somewhere. Okay, so we are going to decide on two categories, I would say. Let's get some dot stickers. I'm gonna do these. So I think one of the biggest things I want to do is getting a good workout routine going. um, so I am going to write that down. There we go. And then I am going to think about the second one. Okay, so I decided on two things and I am not going to complicate it. It's gonna be these two things. And actually, one of these is even for the next week. So after the first week, that's gonna be probably done. So that's even good because that means one of the two things is over the 2 week period, and one of the other things is just for 1 week. So the second week, I'm going to have a little bit more um, leeway because I'm only gonna do one of the two. Okay, so that's gonna be enough for the next 2 weeks because I know that I am working. I'm gonna be exhausted every evening. I'm probably going to get in some things like meeting with friends that's more spontaneous. So there are going to be evenings and I'm not gonna be home very early. And so there's going to be, a lot of things going on besides going to the office every day and then having the weekend off. So I'm not going to overload my schedule. And this doesn't even like take into account like content and all that I'm also doing. So this is on top of everything that I'm already doing, which is why I only choose two things. And so next, I am going to um, write down some steps or like the tasks that I need to do for these things, so that I can just put those on my to-do list, and I will be right back. All right, so I've written down all of the little things that I have to do to get these things started because just putting these like big things on my planner is not going to do anything because when I start my next week and I do all of the things that I usually do, I will very quickly forget about these, first of all. Uh, Second of all, if I don't have um, like a breakdown of what I need to do, I first would have to think about what I need to do, and I'm not gonna have the time throughout the week to think about these things. So I think about them now. I have put down every single little thing that I need to do that I could think of for these two. And so now it is Sunday. What I'm going to do, which is not going to be part of this video, is I'm going to set up my weekly dashboard where I put down all of the things from my monthly calendar for the week, like events and meetings and all that. And then I'm going to put down tasks for all of these days. And I am going to put these tasks onto different days where I feel like it makes sense um, to get them done so that I am working on my goals for the next weeks every single day. Because when I do my dailies and I put down all of my to-dos for the day, besides of all the things that I already know I want to put on my to-do list, I also always check this dashboard to see what I have on this list. And so I transfer those all over onto my daily to-do so that I see that because once I, flip the page over um, on Monday, I can see what I put for Monday, but on the other days I don't see that what I have here. So I need to actually transfer those. But it also helps me to on Sundays to like distribute my to-dos over the week to different days where I feel like it makes sense for like an overview kind of to-do list. So that was the purpose of this step. So now I basically not only looked at everything that I did in the first half of the month, I looked at everything that I did not finish and I moved that, which is still on this sticky, which I'm also going to put on to this to-do list for next week. I also updated my calendar with things coming up and with things that I really want to schedule for the next 2 weeks for myself so that I have like a little bit of a time blocking thing going on. I also thought about things that I want to change up for the next 2 weeks and goals that I want to reach by the end of August. So I feel like that's a really good it's really good progress, and I feel like that's a good start to the next 2 weeks. And what I would maybe even do, um, like coming up in the next months, maybe, is usually I would have like a habit tracker of some sort, or maybe even a goal spread, which I am currently not doing because I am overwhelmed with my life anyways. But if I had a habit tracker, a mood log, a goal spread, or if I used like these, where are they? Oh my god, I'm so bad. Like these, like quarterly, not quarterly, but like year at a glance type of spreads in the front, or if you use like the quarterly sterling ink spreads, you know what I mean. Like these, I would also update these probably. I don't have these spreads, so, and this is what I mean by goal spreads. If I had like something like this where I already laid out stuff I want to achieve in a year, I would look at this as well in the middle of the month to see what I'm doing that month or whatever. So, oops. So if you have like other things, obviously check those as well. But this is what I am doing currently for my mid-month um, check-in, I guess is what I would say. Mid-month reset, maybe. And this is going to probably change, so I might film more of these resets, because depending on my system and my setup, this might change a little bit. I might also include like project planning, or I might even reopen my Etsy shop or something like that. So that's gonna be like a whole other thing that I would have to look over. And I am starting my master's in October. So that's going to be a big thing as well, with like a separate uni planner and everything. So you're going to see how that's gonna go. But this is for this video for now, and I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave me a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. I also have an Instagram account if you want to follow me over there. It's in the description as well. And other than that, I hope you have an awesome day and that we see each other very soon. Until then, bye.